Hi, it's Michelle Birdsong, Daughter of the Sun. We're doing part 3 of Eve defends Christopher Columbus on Columbus Day. You're looking at a picture of Melanie L. Spear being as explorer Christopher Columbus in a parallel life would be as St. Patrick, former slave beginning at age 16 in a parallel life, would be as genius tormented painter Vincent van Gogh. Okay. Those are her parallel lives. Part 3. Eve defends Columbus on Columbus Day. The fourth voyage of Columbus began in May 1502. During this voyage, he reached Central America. He sailed back to Spain in 1504. Columbus thus led the first European expeditions to the Caribbean, Central America, and South America. His fourth point of his 10 accomplishments. His settlement in Hispaniola provided Spain strategic advantage for expansion in the New World. Okay. The 4 voyages of Columbus provided a plethora of information to the Europeans about sailing from Europe to the Americas, as well as about the various kinds of people who resided in the New World. The island of Hispaniola was founded by Columbus on his voyages in 1492 and 1493. Hispaniola was the site of the first permanent European settlement in the Americas. This ultimately aided Spain in its conquest of the West, as the island's position in the northern flank of the Caribbean Sea proved to be a strategic standpoint for the expansion of Spain to Cuba, Mexico, Panama, and South America. The 5th accomplishment. Columbus made colonization possible for Spain. Columbus's efforts as an explorer set forth a chain of events that allowed Spain to establish a permanent foothold on the American continent. Spain started this by destroying the Aztecs, the Incas, and the Mayan cultures, which paved the way for 500 years of Western domination. In essence, Columbus's voyages resulted in an everlasting contact between the Western and Eastern hemispheres of the world. While this resulted in the destruction of the native people of the Americas, it proved to be the basis on which our modern world is built. Are you grateful for our modern world? I am. The Aztecs and Mayans are the energy of cockroaches, flies, snails, and snails. Do you wish you lived in a culture where most of the leaders and people have the consciousnesses of flies, roaches, and snails? Led by Spain, the European level of cows, females, flower consciousness. So they gained exceedingly due to the effort of Columbus helping them prosper at the expense of their colonies and paving the way for their domination of the modern world, for which, notes Eve, I'm most grateful to God and to his grandson Columbus. Columbus. M for Melanie, S for Spear. Columbus B, Melanie Spear. Colonies. C for C, O for order, L for love, O for order, N for get, engage, I for pleasure, E for mother, and S, I think that's S, for savior. C, order, love, order, engage, pleasure, mother, Eve, and savior. Okay, the savior, Jesus Christ, is the mother of Eve, who also be Mary Magdalene. Baba G projected himself as Corinne Beatrice Crowder, Miss Frog, Jindara Michelle Ranzinger. Miss Frog, Corinne Beatrice Crowder, was the mother of Eve, T. Michelle Birdsong. And he was Baba Jamal Singh, who did the projecting, also was Guru Gurinder Singh Dhillon. So you see how Gurinder Singh Dhillon became T. Michelle Birdsong's mother? Because Baba G, who is Gurinder Singh Dhillon, projected himself as T. Michelle Birdsong Minnow's mother, Miss Frog, and now being Jindara Michelle Ranziger, T. Michelle Birdsong's granddaughter. Okay, did you follow that? The sixth accomplishment of Columbus, he had a major impact on the history of mankind. Columbian exchange is a term coined by Alfred W. Crosby in his revolutionary book, The Columbian Exchange, which was published in 1972. The term refers to the widespread exchange of animals, plants, human populations, diseases, technology, and ideals that occurred between Afro-Eurasia and the Americas after Christopher Columbus landed in the New World. For instance, potatoes, corn, and tomatoes were introduced to the Old World. Similarly, cattle, hogs, and sheep were introduced to the people of America. The seventh accomplishment of Columbus, through domesticated animals, Columbian exchange expanded the food supply in the Americas. Prior to the Columbian exchange, the Old World had never seen a catfish bottom feeder or a tomato, while the Native Americans had never seen a cow or an apple. Due to the Columbian exchange, a lot of crops and animals were introduced to both Old and New World. Crops introduced to Old World include potatoes, tomatoes, maize, cocoa, and tobacco. Crops introduced to New World: rice, wheat, apples, bananas, and coffee. Turkey and llama are probably the only prominent New World domesticated animals which was introduced to the Old World. However, many animals were imported to the New World: horses, cows, chickens, donkeys, and pigs. These animals, especially pigs, because they breed very quickly, expanded the food supply in the America. The eighth accomplishment of Columbus. Columbian Exchange, the plants from the Americas had a huge impact on the old world. Lines of millions of people, lives of millions of people in Africa, Europe, and Asia were changed radically due to the introduction of New World plants like potatoes and maize. They could grow in soil. That was useless for old world crops. Today, China and India are the largest producers and consumers of potatoes in the world. Cassava provides more calories than any plant on earth and is the basic diet of more than 500,000 people in the developing world. The ninth accomplishment of Columbus, he served as governor of Hispaniola. Christopher Columbus was widely regarded as an expert navigator and maritime explorer of his time. He held many important titles and positions during his lifetime. In 1492, Columbus received the title Almirante Mayor del Mar Ocean, which translates to Admiral of the Ocean. Columbus had a legal agreement with the Spanish crown that entitled him to a percentage of their profits from his discoveries. If Spain would pay, note from Eve, if Spain would pay Columbus Melniel Spear, she and her 4 saint children wouldn't have to live in poverty if they would just pay her a percentage of the profits they made from his discoveries. Anyway, Columbus was also granted the viceroyalty and governorship of any lands that he might discover. Oh, so he's the governor of Trinidad, etc. Following Columbus's first voyage, he was appointed viceroy and governor of the Indies. In effect, this meant that he was given power to administer the colonies in the island of Hispaniola. He held this title from 1492 to 1499, 7 years after which, he was dismissed due to alleged tyranny and incompetence. King Ferdinand must not have agreed with that decision, and no doubt he must have taken into account the conditions Columbus was living under. At one point, the islanders were refusing him and his crew food. He had to threaten them with the wrath of God to get food for himself and his crew. Columbus had warned the treasure fleet gathering in the harbor not to put to sea till the storm had passed. Let's see, is this, are these pages stuck together? Okay. Nicholas D. Ovando